Hey guys, Sykes here. And I'm sorry for not uploading any videos the past few days. Not really been busy, just the rendering process on my videos has been a little weird, a little shaky. Been taking a little bit longer than I expected it to, but it's good to be back. It's good to finally be posting a new episode, and I'm kind of excited to start this new series. This is going to be a fantasy draft series, as you guys probably already can tell just from reading the title. I'm going to be playing as the Angels just because they're my favorite team. I have a lot of background know-how on them. I like their park and I like their uniform, so I just felt like I'd be having the most fun if I was just playing as my favorite team. So I was given, I think, like the 10th pick in the draft, something like that, and not the greatest pick necessarily, but it was a pretty good pick for the most part. I was going for more of a younger guy. Paul Goldschmidt was definitely ideal for me, but I drafted a player on the idea that I was going to do a certain trade at the end of the draft, which I do. I do end up doing two big trades at the end of this draft. But pretty much the way I drafted players from this were based, my first pick was based on a trade that I was hoping to do. So although Paul Goldschmidt was the best option on the board, I would think, I ended up going with Andrew McCutchen here in the first pick. Although, as you can tell, they both have very good statistics. I just ended up going with Andrew McCutchen because you will soon see at the end of the video, you'll see what I do to incorporate Andrew McCutchen into my future moves. So, a lot of people, when they watch fantasy draft videos, like to have an idea of how certain people draft. The thing I was trying to do is I was focused more on hitting than pitching, and the reason I did that is because I'm a good pitcher. And so, one tip I have for all of you guys who like to do fantasy drafts: if you're good at hitting, draft better pitching. But if you're good at pitching, draft better hitting. You want to draft something that will help you at your faults. If you're a great pitcher, don't draft great pitchers, or else you'll be doing terrible at hitting. So do draft positions that you're bad at, so you can so they can improve. So that's just one tip I have for you guys. Another tip that I think is important is that you really want to draft players that you're good with. You don't want to draft players that you just think have good stats. You want to draft players that you're actually good with, because that's what's most important. And don't draft purely on overall too. Another thing you really want to focus on is their more in-depth stats. Just because somebody's an 85 doesn't make them any better than an 83, although they may have better all-around skills. If one has better power than the other or something, draft what you will need on your team. Don't just draft whoever's better. Draft whoever fixes the problems you have on your team, and that will actually make your team better, rather than having a better player, if that makes sense. So you really just got to know what your team's strengths and weaknesses are. Typically, you can find out that type of thing within the first few weeks of the season, and you just check your team stats. And typically, just from that, you can see what your team's good at and what your team's bad at. And then you can start making trades or start signing free agent stuff to incorporate your faults. So that's just an idea of mine. That's something I always like to do. Another thing, this is something I learned from doing this draft. Make sure to get relief pitching and stuff in your bullpen. Now, I completely forget to get relief pitchers and closing pitchers, and it comes back to bite me a little bit, where I end up making trades for some relief pitchers at the end of the draft. And I do that, and I also trade for one big player. So you'll see how that all works. Don't think whoever I draft right here, they're safe or something, because I make some blockbuster trades as soon as this video comes to an end. So pretty much, I'm not one that I didn't really enjoy having to make such a blockbuster trade so early in the season, but I drafted a player that I personally love, and I figured you guys would enjoy watching him more as well. So that's just kind of the reason I did it. It's just because I figured the series would be all around better if I got a new person on my team. But I'll show you guys the roster at the end of the draft. So if there's ever a time where you miss certain parts of the draft, don't worry, I will show you guys the roster and my lineup and my rotation at the end. So don't worry about all that. I'm going to show you guys the first 5 picks, and then I start editing it down. I start editing it down right here. So pretty much as you can see, I'm going to go with Matt Latos as my ace. I think Latos is a great pitcher, has amazing stuff. And I just figured he'd be a good ace of rotation, especially because he's got potential and he's probably going to be constantly getting better. Another thing I was focused on a lot was my outfield. I got McCutcheon kind of as a 2-hitter and kind of as a 2 or 3 hitter, I guess. He could be hitting against threes. He could be hitting as a 3-hitter too, and maybe even a leadoff hitter. He has the capabilities to be all 3 of those positions in the batting lineup. And then I got Giancarlo Stanton to hit as either a 3-hitter or a 4-hitter because his power is just ridiculous. And there's not very many insanely good power hitters out there, so he was definitely somebody I was really interested in. But also, another person, I don't trade for him, but one person I kind of wish I got on this draft was Freddie Freeman. And the reason I say that is because that guy has very good stats. I mean, and he's good. He's good to play with. There's players that are very good in this game that are just impossible to play with, but he's just great at both. And so, just remember how I say this. Just kind of remember me saying this because although I haven't done it yet, I might try to go for Freddie Freeman later in the year. I've been considering it. I've been talking to my coaches. They think it's a good idea. They think that he'll really bolster our lineup. So just keep on to the idea that Freddie Freeman might be joining our team. Haven't made any moves for it yet, but if there is one move that I'm going for, it is for Freddie Freeman because not only do I find him super good, but I wasn't super happy with how my first baseman, my whole first base situation at the end of this fantasy draft. Although I did get one really good first baseman that I love, I wouldn't mind. I would also like to get a DH that I can work with, and Freddie Freeman could definitely work as either a great fielding first baseman or a DH. So that's just one hint I want to give out to you guys for a player I'll be going for. That's not the player I use. That's not the player I get in the Blockbuster trade at the end of this video. I get somebody else, a guy who's a little bit better than him, and you'll see. So you can already tell it's a Blockbuster trade if I'm talking about somebody better than Freddie Freeman. So you guys will see who I get soon. Totally stoked that I got him. I think you guys will enjoy that I got him too. And it's all going to work out good. So I'm pretty much already winding down pretty close to the end of the draft. I did edit the draft really close to make sure that I can finish it very quickly. So sorry about that. So I did edit the draft very carefully together in order to make the video shorter. As the draft's not the most important process, of course that's where the building of your team lies. But past the first 5 picks, I think that's where the draft kind of tones down interest. But I don't know what to say. It's like I just try to get through that part fast and then just go right to the after part where I start making trades. Because once I start making trades, that's where the real building of my team is. Because a lot of the people I drafted in the fantasy draft were purely for trade purposes. So none of them really matter as cornerstones of my team because I'm just going to trade them. You guys will understand this soon. I'll explain it at the end of the video when I'm making the trades so you guys just kind of have more of an idea of what I'm talking about. But right here I show you guys just how my team rounded out. I show you guys the rosters. You guys can already see that I have some great prospect depth. And right here, I changed the position of certain players. I had to because for some reason the lineups will work really weird. The lineups will never incorporate people's secondary positions. And so if they don't play the position you want, even if it's one of their secondary positions, they'll just bench them. So I just changed the position of some of these players in order to actually have them be starters in my lineup. So the computer wouldn't just move them all over the place. So that's what I do. And here we go right into the trade menu. Now, this trade was completely random. First off, you see I'm going for some players on this Marlins squad. And the reason this was so random, and this isn't actually the trade I ended up doing. This was just a trade that was considered. It's Sean Marshall and Pedro Strop. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. And this is because, like I said, I had some really bad bullpen depth. And so I really wanted to find somebody that can just kind of be a lockdown pitcher in my bullpen. I figured Sean Marshall was good, especially the fact that he was a lefty was really intriguing to me. So that was definitely one guy I was considering getting. But once I'm scrolling through this team, I go out to their center fielder and realize that they have Mike Trout. Now, Mike Trout's probably one of the hardest players to get in this game. But Mike Trout's my favorite player. I'm an Angels fan. He's leading our team to be good. And so I'm thinking to myself, there has to be some way I can get this guy. I didn't care what I had to give up. Mike Trout was the guy I wanted to get. So, as you can see, I'm going to throw in Andrew McCutchen. And, like I said, I got McCutchen with the first pick. But I did use him in this trade because he's also a center fielder, and it makes it much easier. So the team doesn't. The trade is easier to do because they play the same position. So the other team won't mind as much. And so right here, McCutchen's not that much of a downgrade from Mike Trout, and they get Dylan Bundy pretty much for free. So they definitely are intrigued by this trade. And then I try to throw in a way to get Sean Marshall, and all I had to do was throw in another prospect pitcher. So it ends up working out really well that I got so many prospects because I can use them to try to make my team a lot better. I didn't really want to. I want to win the first season that I'm playing. My goal is not to wait a few seasons to win. I want to win the first season. And when I look at my lineup and everything, I think the thing that's really going to help me out the most is that I have a very good hitting lineup. The thing that's worrying, though, is that my rotation is not exactly where I want it to be. And that could really be what causes some problems, because my rotation is either going to do really bad or really good, because it's just a ton of young players. I don't know how they're going to develop. But either way, this video only has about 30 seconds left, so I'm just really hoping that my pitching rotation will do what I need to do. But while this video winds down to its closing seconds, all I want to say is thank you guys for watching. Make sure to stay tuned, as there will be plenty of more videos on this series, because I am already loving playing with this team. So thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure to stay tuned. See you guys later. Peace.